Let me ask you something real. Have you ever been around a woman, felt a vibe, but nothing happened, and you walked away confused? Here's what most men miss. Women enjoy sex just as much as men, sometimes even more. But unlike men, they're often taught to hide that desire. Why? Because for generations, society has conditioned women to be modest, to fear being judged, labeled, or misunderstood if they express sexual interest too openly. So instead of coming right out and saying it, many women show their attraction in subtle, emotionally driven ways. They prioritize connection first, before touch, before intimacy, because it helps them feel safe, seen, and respected. The problem? Most guys miss these cues. In fact, studies show that up to 90% of men misread or completely miss the nonverbal signs women give off. And that's how you end up in the friend zone without even realizing you were being tested. But once you learn to recognize these hidden signals, everything changes. Why women choose subtlety, cultural pressures, and hidden rules. You know what's crazy? From a young age, most women are taught the same silent rule. Don't be too sexual. Don't come off as easy. Why? Because society has a double standard. A man showing desire, he's confident. A woman doing the same, she risks being judged, labeled as too much, or worse, promiscuous. So what happens? Many women internalize this message. Instead of being upfront about attraction, they learn to be discreet, to imply rather than express. They smile instead of speaking. They touch lightly instead of making bold moves. Not because they're not interested, but because they're protecting themselves from judgment, from rejection, from being misunderstood. Think about it. If being honest about what you want always came with a social penalty, wouldn't you learn to speak in code too? This silent dance is everywhere, and if you don't know how to read it, you're missing half the conversation. Emotional connection comes first. Let's break a common myth. A woman's attraction doesn't begin with the physical. It begins with the emotional. Before she even thinks about getting intimate, she's reading the room. She's asking herself, can I trust him? Does he make me feel safe? Does he truly see me or just want something from me? And instead of stating it outright, she'll test the waters through subtle signals. A long glance, a soft laugh, a thoughtful question that digs just a little deeper than small talk. She's not playing games, she's looking for connection. Because when a woman feels loved, desired, and emotionally secure, her physical desire naturally follows. It's not about earning her attraction. It's about creating an atmosphere where she can feel free to express it. So if she's being emotionally open with you, don't overlook it. That may be the moment she's telling you, this could be more. Why men often miss the sign. Let's be honest. Most guys were never taught to recognize the quiet signs of interest. We're trained to expect bold moves, clear yes or no answers, or words that spell it out. Here's the truth. Women often express attraction through subtlety. A lingering touch, a soft laugh at your joke, a look that holds for just a moment too long. And because those signals aren't obvious, most men miss them. Not because we don't care, because we're not looking in the right place. So what happens? She thinks you're not interested. She backs off. And just like that, a connection with real potential disappears. This is why so many relationships stall before they start, not from rejection, but from miscommunication. But here's the good news. Once you learn to recognize her language, you stop missing opportunities, and you start building something that actually lasts. Signs a woman is sexually attracted to you. She touches you, often and with purpose. Let's start with one of the most obvious but overlooked signs: touch. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, she'll find small reasons to get close. A hand on your arm, a playful touch on your back, maybe a gentle brush against your shoulder. At first, these might feel accidental, but they're not. They're tests. Little ways to say, I'm comfortable with you. Now here's what you really need to pay attention to. If her touch becomes more frequent and starts to land on more intimate areas like your thigh, chest, neck, or even your face, that's not subtle anymore. That's intention. She might play with her hair, adjust her clothes, or gently brush her fingers along the edge of a glass, seemingly casual but charged with meaning. And if you touch her hand, her shoulder, or her lower back, and she doesn't flinch or pull away, that's huge. That tells you she feels safe with you, and maybe wants to be even closer. The truth is, women are masters of subtle seduction. They often let their interest show not through bold moves, but through calm, feminine cues. Miss those, and you're missing the entire conversation her body's already started. 4. She invites you to her place. Let's be real. When a woman invites you into her personal space, it's never just about coffee. Sure, she might say, "Want to come over and watch a movie?" But underneath that casual tone is a deeper message. I trust you. I'm open to more. Women don't take this step lightly. Her home is her sanctuary, and inviting you in, especially alone, means she's not just comfortable, she's curious. Maybe she asks for your help with something, moving a shelf, fixing her Wi-Fi. But it's not about the task. It's about the time alone, without distractions, without a crowd, just you and her. If she lights a candle, dims the lights, or puts on soft music, come on, you're not there for tech support. That's your signal to connect deeper, but always with awareness and respect. 5. She dresses to impress specifically for you. Let's talk appearance. Yes, some women naturally dress well, but when she's into you, you'll start to notice little changes. She might wear a dress that hugs her shape, do her makeup just a little more precisely, show a bit more skin, but always with style and intention. If she normally goes casual but suddenly looks like she stepped off a date night ad when she meets you, that's not a coincidence. That's a statement. She's signaling, I want your attention. I want you to notice me. Now, context matters. Don't jump to conclusions too quickly. But if her style noticeably shifts around you, and only you, that's attraction in motion. And the deeper truth? When a woman puts effort into how she looks for you, she's hoping you'll respond, not with lust, but with appreciation. It's her way of saying, I want to feel desired by you. 6. She draws attention to her lips. One of the most primal signals of desire? The lips. Watch closely. Is she biting her lip while listening to you? Slowly licking it between words? Reapplying lip gloss while looking straight at you? That's not by accident. That's psychology in motion. Lips are one of the most sensual zones on the body, and she knows where your attention is going. This kind of behavior often shows up during moments of tension, that pause in conversation, that glance held a little too long, that moment when time seems to slow. She's not saying, kiss me, but she's making you think about it. And that, my friend, is incredibly intentional. So when her lips become part of the conversation, without a single word, know this, she's speaking a language of desire. All you have to do is listen with more than your ears. Reading the signs, deepening the connection. So, now you know. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, she rarely just comes out and says it. Instead, she shows it. In touch, in tone, in body language. In the way she talks, invites, dresses, and even moves. They mean she's opening a door, but she still wants you to walk through it with presence, respect, and emotional awareness. Most guys either miss the signals or rush too fast and ruin the moment. But the ones who know how to read the cues, they create space for something deeper, something electric. So the next time you wonder if she's into you, don't just listen to her words. Watch how she invites you without ever saying a thing. Because once you speak her unspoken language, everything starts to change. Understanding her signals, changing the game. So here's the truth most men were never taught. Women feel desire just as strongly as men, but they're often conditioned to express it differently, subtly, softly, and with emotional depth. And that's why so many powerful connections never get off the ground. Because too many men are waiting for obvious signs, while the real signs are already happening, in touch, in tone, in presence. But now that you know what to look for, you're no longer guessing in the dark. You're aware, you're attuned, and that makes you rare. So the next time a woman leans in just a little, smiles a little longer, speaks with her eyes more than her words, remember, that's not just a moment, that's an invitation. And when you learn to meet her where she is, emotionally, respectfully, intentionally, that's when everything begins to shift. That's when her, but for you too. If this opened your eyes, even just a little, hit that like button so YouTube knows you're one of the men who actually wants to understand women. Subscribe for more deep, real, psychology-backed content about attraction, connection, and confidence. And drop a comment, which of these signs have you missed before? And what will you do differently now?